Hey, how are you traders? I hope everybody's fine, everybody's okay, and everybody's doing well with the trading and learning. Actually, there are still others who are keeping on learning, even though those who have well trading strategies and other things, they're still supposed to learn. So I'm sure everybody is still learning. So I think you are doing well with your learning, and also you are doing well with your trading. So as normal, we carry on with our free lessons, and I will have started providing those free lessons in Advanced Elliott Wave course. So we are here today in order to present this session mainly in Advanced Elliott Wave course. And here we are going to cover all those we call the possible variations in Elliott Wave principle, because one important thing that a trader who applies the wave principle in trading must be aware of all those we call the possible variations in a principle that applies those changes in the mood of the market. So if you don't know those possible variations, actually the wave principle will not work in the market. But now what we see here is what we call the Awesome Forex Tanzania homepage, and this is on YouTube. So make sure that you follow those major parts of this channel. So I'm going to present some of the major parts here before we go on. The first part that you're supposed to visit is our broker here. You must follow our selected broker. So we expect most of the traders to trade with this broker because of those who call the well trading conditions. So make sure that you use this LITEFOREX broker. So you may click this part here if you're using a computer to view this video. Make sure that you click this part and it will take you directly to the broker's homepage, and mainly you can register yourself there. And also another thing that I recommend you to follow from this homepage, we have our Telegram channel. Also you can follow it directly, or you can join the channel directly from this part. And also next thing is we have this link to TradingView. That's what we call our selected trading software, or we call it an online platform for analysis of the market. So TradingView is one of our choice for analysis of the market. So make sure that you follow it through this link. And also you can go straight to our Instagram. Also you can follow us on Instagram through this link. Also those links are active actually for those who are using computers, but for those who use phones, actually they cannot have this kind of view. So I recommend you to scroll down to video descriptions, and now you'll find all of those links are there at video description. So you can follow the things in that way, and then we'll be together, because frequently actually we update things either on Telegram or on Instagram or on YouTube. So make sure also you subscribe this channel. If it is the first time you visit this channel, make sure that you subscribe in order to be able to get all of those updates that we'll be putting in this channel. Now, as I've said that, now we're through with this. As I've said that we are carrying on with our lessons on Advanced Elliott Wave. Now this is basically an Advanced Forex course. Now mainly you can call this as Advanced Forex course, but in this Advanced Forex course, now we are on the part of Elliott Wave. So we are going to cover those advanced things on Elliott Wave. So in order to cover all of the basic things in Advanced Elliott Wave course, we have divided those things into, now those contents, we have divided them into 12 parts. So now this is the first part of 12 parts. So now in order to go together, in order for you to be together with us, so make sure that you subscribe this channel in order to get every session that will be released through this channel. So if you are watching this part now, make sure that you have watched the introductory part, because we already have an introductory part on Elliott Wave, on Advanced Elliott Wave. So make sure that you have watched those introductory information on this course now. And currently we have started part 1. So before watching, if you have not watched this the introductory part, you will be not able to understand some information that were already maybe presented in the introductory part. Now what are we going to cover in Advanced Elliott Wave? I already covered some things there in introductory part. I said that we have those who call the Elliott wave rules. Now remember this, I want to remind you. Now we have those who call the Elliott wave rules, and also we have those who call the Elliott wave guidelines. We have those who call we call them as guidelines. Now we have Elliott wave rules and guidelines. Now Elliott wave rules and guidelines they were put there in order to cover all the possible variations in the market. Now always the market has been driven with changes in the mood of the people. So actually the mood is different depending on the stage of certain, I mean it depends on the stage at which the stage of development of the market. So Elliott wave have tried to cover the changes in every stage of the market. Maybe it is in a primary stage, or it is in an intermediate stage, or it is an immature stage. So every stage have got its possible variations. So when you are trading with the Elliott wave, you must be aware of the rules. It covers the things that do not change actually. They are actually static within the market. Those modes that are static. But the guidelines, they cover those modes that are variable. Sometimes they are in this way, and other times actually those things changes. So those guidelines are variable, and it's where we get what to call the alternative counts when we are trading with Elliott wave. So now I said we'll cover things like rules, and on the part of rules we already discussed on the introductory part. On the introductory part we cover the issues on rules, but the issues on guidelines is what we are going through from the lesson number 1 up to lesson number 12. Mainly we'll be discussing guidelines, but guidelines will be actually sometimes some lessons will go beyond the guidelines. Therefore make sure that you understand the guidelines, but also you understand those informations that are additional to what we call the guidelines. Therefore, understanding all those things, you will trade with Elliott wave profitably. If you need to trade with Elliott wave profitably, you must be aware of those things. So now, through this course also, I'm going to answer one question. There's a question that most of traders actually, maybe they ask why, maybe the question is why, now I'll put it here, why it's like 99% of traders, why 99% of traders now do not trade profitably. Why 99% of traders, they do not trade profitably with the wave principle, Now, always, this is the question that most of traders actually, maybe those who trade with the wave principle, or those who do not trade with the wave principle. But mainly, it is observed that 99% of traders who use wave principle, actually they do not trade profitably. Now those who trade profitably is just 1%. So if you want to be 1%, being 1% is also about trading profitably with the wave principle. So now through this course also, I will answer this question. I will answer the question that why most of traders do not trade profitably with the wave principle. But now, as an introductory thing, as an introductory information, actually I can explain that most people they think that Elliott wave is a trading strategy. That's the one thing that most of traders fail there. They think that Elliott wave is a strategy, but basically Elliott wave is not a strategy. Mainly it's a principle that gives you a context at which you can analyze the market. That's all. Because a strategy must be something that may guide you where to enter the market, where to leave the market. Yes, it has got many informations. It's not only to enter and to leave the market, how you can manage your trade based on various movements of the market. That's how the strategy should be. But Elliott wave do not show you where to enter in the market, and also it don't show you where not to enter the market, and also it don't show you where to leave the market. Therefore, you must incorporate certain informations within the wave principle in order to be able to use the wave principle as a trading strategy. So most of traders, they have informations or they have knowledge about the wave principle, but they have not incorporated those informations, or they fail to switch it into what we call the trading strategy. So if you are a visitor of this channel maybe for a long time, we already introduced our trading strategy known as the PSC. Now if you have visited this channel, I think since 2 years ago, 2 years ago, we introduced this we call the PSC strategy. We said that this is the only way you can apply the wave principle in the market. The PSC is the only way. It is not only, but based on us. Based on us, we believe that PSC is how you can apply the wave principle in the market. But other traders actually they may have their own way on how they can apply the wave principle. But based on us, we have this we call the PSC, or sometimes we call it as the arrow strategy. We have this we call the arrow strategy. Now, arrow strategy is our only way to apply the wave principle. So most of traders actually they learn wave principle without creating the conditions on how the wave principle will guide them on how will guide them on trading. So if you need to use the wave principle the trading strategy, make sure that you learn this. We have a video on the PSC, or we have a video on the arrow strategy. So make sure that you visit this video if you need to trade with the wave principle profitably. So now these are some of introductory informations or preliminary informations on the question that why most of traders actually they don't trade profitably with the wave principle. So those are what we call the introductory informations. So now let's go to our lesson. And I said that we'll cover those we call the Elliott wave guidelines. So when we are listing those guidelines in the introductory session, actually I said we have those guidelines, the guidelines like guideline of alternation, the guideline of extension, then we have the guideline of equality, we have the guideline of we have those who call channeling. Then we'll cover things like throw over, the issues on volume. Now all of those things actually they are what we call the wave guidelines. So knowing those things will help you to trade with Elliott wave profitably. So today we are going to start with the guideline of alternation. Today we are going to start with the guideline of alternation. We have this we call alternation. Now this is the first guideline, or the first thing that we are going to cover in what we call the advanced Elliott wave course. Now the guideline of alternation, we are going to see now how various wave structures according to Elliott wave can have those we call the possible variations. How various wave structures can have those we call the possible variations in the market due to changes in the mood of the people who influence or who drive the movement of the market. So now on the issues or on the idea of guideline of alternation, we will find that the guideline of alternation has been divided into two parts. Those we call the major parts now. It has been divided into two major parts, whereby the first part on the guideline of alternation will cover the issues on alternation. We have this we call alternation within impasse. Alternation within impasse. Now this is the first part that we are going to cover. And also alternation is also seen within correction. Now we have this we call alternation in correction, or within correction, in correction. Alternation within correction, or we call it alternation in correction. Now these are the major areas where we can discuss alternation. When we're talking about alternation from the word alternate, it means changing. Actually, when we say things are alternating, it means those things are changing. Now this one can be seen in this part, and also can shift from that part which was seen before and move to another part, or it can be seen in this way and also may change, and the next time you will find that it is seen in a different way. That's what we call alternation. Therefore, within an impasse, there's a time when you can find that an impasse have this structure, and then when you see it next time, you find that it has got a different structure. And also within a correction, the same thing. Within a correction also, you can find that a corrective wave have got this appearance or this structure, and then next time you will find that the same correction, it has got another structure. So we will cover all the possible structures of the market within an impasse, and then we will cover all the possible market structure within a correction. Now, the things that we're going to learn here are the things that most of traders have not, I mean, those mentors now, mainly those who mentor the issues on Elliott Wave, actually none have already talked those things on the internet, usually, I'm sure. If there is anyone who already talked those things that I'm going to talk here, make sure that you mention that person in a comment section. So make sure that you tag or you mention that person in a comment section if there is anyone who already talked to those things that I'm going to explain here on the internet. Mainly, most of people, they put on the internet those who call the basic things, those who call the basic concepts, actually. Example on Elliott Wave, that is basics on Elliott Wave, they are available on the internet. But those advanced things on Elliott Wave, they are not available on the internet. That's why most of people, they learn those basic things, then they jump into the market with an idea that, oh, they have already covered those things on Elliott Wave, but you find that the market, boom, kills them. Yeah, the market kills them because they have only those things on basic, they have those basic knowledge but not advanced knowledge. So make sure that you stay with me. Make sure that you stay with me in order to have that knowledge to kill the market, but not the market to kill you. Actually, basic things, make sure, I mean, if you have basic knowledge, you will find that the market kills you. But if you have advanced knowledge, you are going to kill the market. So now, we have this alternation within an impasse, then we have alternation within a correction. Now, I'm giving you the map. I'm giving you the map of what we are going to discuss. Now, within an impasse, you will find that, within an impasse, the first thing, you will find that alternation can start with having sharp movement or sharp structure. We can have that sharp structure or the sharp movement, or sometimes we can have the sideway movement. So within an impasse, we can have alternation in terms of having a sharp structure, and also we can have alternation. It means it is alternation between a sharp and sideway movement. Now we have those two types of things, whereby an impasse can form what we call the sharp movement, and also can have what we call the sideway movement. But also within an impasse, we have alternation in terms of extension. We have alternation in terms of extension. When we're talking about extension, it means having that movement of the market in the structure of the market has been extended in terms of time. It means the movement of the market has got a long time of coverage of that distance. It means it has covered a very long distance. That is what we call extension, when there is a coverage of a very long distance. So that's what we call extension. But now this is just a map of what we're going to discuss. So later on, I'm going to dig it deep, and then we'll find what is extension, we'll understand what is sharp correction, what is sideway correction, and everything actually will be clear here. Then now, when we come into corrections also has got their own kind of alternations. Therefore, this kind of alternation, it depends on whether it is within an individual corrective structure, or sometimes it can be in a combination. So we have those kind of things. It can be within an individual structure, or sometimes it can be within just a combination. So now we'll have those two ways in which a correction may alternate. Now it can be within. Now it may be within a structure. Alternation can be within a structure, and also alternation can be within a combination. It can be within a combination. Sometimes now when we are talking about combination, so make sure that you watch other videos on Elliott Wave. We already covered many videos, actually many concepts I've already covered, and we uploaded those things on YouTube. So make sure that you visit those basic things that we already covered. So now the issues on combination, sometimes those corrective waves cannot stand as an individual structure. Now more than one corrective structures may combine together to form a big picture of what we call the corrective wave. So now within combination there is an alternation, and also within a single corrective structure also there is an alternation. So now, what are those kinds of alternation and other things within an impasse and within a correction? So now let's go straight to the concept. let's go straight to the concept and start covering the things, the issues on sharp and the issues on extension. Now let's start with the first thing, the issues on within impasse. Now let's start with this. Now within impasse. Now let us see alternation within impasse. Now my handwriting is somehow not so good, but actually you can read it. It's not so hard to read it, so you can read, but make sure that you listen a lot, because there are a lot of things that maybe I'll be talking, but I'll not be writing them there. Now within impasse, let us see alternation within impasse. We have said that we have two ways in which an impasse may alternate. We have sharp and sideway. Now let's start with the first thing, the issues on sharp or sideway. Sideway. We have the issues on sharp and sideway. Now what's this in terms of an impasse? Now when we're talking about impulse, I think we know about the issues on motive. So sometimes others may say this is what to call it is alternation within the motive waves. Sometimes others call it as alternation within motive. So motive wave, now I reviewed this thing because I already presented it, but I'm sure maybe some of you are visiting this channel for the first time and you have not watched those previous videos. So now I already said when we are talking about this motive, we are talking about the movement of the wave in the same direction as that we call the higher degree wave. So that's what we call the motive move. The market is moving in the same direction as the higher degree wave. So now when the market is moving in the same direction as the higher degree wave, now it may be in terms of what we call the impasse, and also it can be in terms of what we call the now this is diagonal. Now it can be in terms diagonal. Now, oh my god, let me write it well. So it can be in terms of impasse, or sometimes it can be in terms of diagonal. So now it can be diagonal and also it can be an impulse. So now our case here is the issues on sharp and sideway. That's our case. So when the market is moving, now we'll cover this, the issues on impasse. Now we'll cover the issues on impasse. Now leave the idea of diagonal, but I was reminding you the concept of what are the impasse and what are the diagonal. Mainly those are the major parts of the motive move. So now when the market is moving within an impasse, so make sure that you remember those guidelines of an impasse and the issues on rules of an impasse. So when the market is moving impassively, we expect that we will have five wave count to the direction of the higher degree move. So the market will move in this way. We'll have this 1, then we'll have 2, we'll have this 3, then we'll have this 4, then finally we'll have this. The last wave is number 5. So this will be number 1, this will be number 2, then this will be number 3, finally this, not final now, this will be number 4, and finally this will be number 5. So we have 5 wave moves. That's what to call an impasse. So why we call this as an impasse? Because mainly there's no overlap between that wave number 4 and wave number 1. Usually the difference between an impasse and diagonal is when there is no overlap in wave number 4. I mean overlap between wave number 4 and number 1. That's usually what to call an impasse. So now we have said that there is alternation in terms of sharp and sideway. So where we can find the issues on sharp and sideway, mainly we expect that the movement in wave number 2 and the movement in wave number 4, they should be different. Their organization or their building structure, the building structure of the wave number 2 and the wave number 4, actually it must be different. That's the guideline. So we expect that when wave number 2, or if wave number 2 is sharp, now this is what to call sharp. Now remember, the market is moving strongly or heavily to the direction where it started movement. So now this is what to call the sharp correction. So now this number 2 is sharp. Now when number 2 is sharp, we expect wave number 4 will be sideway. This will be sideway. So wave number 2 is sharp, wave number 4 is sideway. Now alternative way will be when wave number 2 is sideway. When wave number 2 is sideway, then here will be number 3, number 4 will be sharp, then things goes on in that way. So this is 1 and this is 2, now this is 3, this is 4, and finally this is 5. So sharp and sideway, I think you see the organization of this structure. This one is sideway, this one is sharp, it is deep, or sometimes you can call it as deep. So the internal building may differentiate the sharp and sideway. When we say number 2, wave number 2 is sharp, it means its internal building, it may be like this, 1, 2, 3 to the downside. Then we say number 4 is sideway, it may have this kind of building, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or anything else. It may be 5 or anything else. It depends, mainly if it is a triangle. Sometimes if it is a triangle, can have more than 3 moves. Maybe if it is a flat also can be sideway, but a flat has got 3 waves. So sometimes it can be 1, 2, 3 if it is a flat, or it can be it can be A, B, C, D, E if it is a triangle. But mainly we are looking on the building structure. This one is deep or sharp, and this one is sideway. Sometimes this can be sideway like this one is sideway, and this one also can be sharp. So they alternate actually. This is the first part on the issues on guideline of alternation, and mainly this is alternation within an impasse. This is alternation within an impasse, and mainly on the idea of being sharp and being sideway. But now, what mainly do we expect the market to do? What do we mainly expect the market to do? Mainly, we expect the market to show us a deep correction in wave number 2 and have a sideway correction in wave number 4. That's what we usually expect, or we mainly expect. But it doesn't mean that the market always must do that. No. Sometimes we expect number 2 should be sideway like this, and then wave number 4 should be deep. But in most of cases, wave number 2 is deep and wave number 4 is sideway. So if you incorporate those informations with the issues on Fibonacci levels, the issues on wave ratios, and other guidelines, you will find that you can trade profitably, because you will be aware that I have seen wave number 2 is deep, so I expect number 3 should be sideway. So you will not be number 4. So you will be not watching for wave number 4 to be deep, because you already have a deep wave number 2. If number 2 was sideway, so you will not also watch for wave number 4 to be sideway. You will be watching for the deep correction in wave number 4. Now that's how you will be waiting for the market to do, if you know the issues on guideline of alternation in terms of being sharp and sideway. Now that's all about that's all about the issues on sharp and sideway, but it is just a part of impasse. On an impasse, we say that we have the idea of extension. The idea of extension. Now, impasse waves, they show extension. Impasse waves, actually, they show extension, and this is a very sensitive part, actually. If actually we didn't had a very great concentration on this lesson from the beginning, now make sure that you increase your concentration on this part. Now, mainly the issues on extension. Now let us see the issues on extension. Now we're looking on the extension, mainly we are within an impasse. It is extension, but usually we are within an impasse. So what is extension? Extension usually, according to Elliott wave principle, is seen when a wave building shows a clearly count of the internal waves. That's what we call extension mainly. When you find that the building structure of a wave has clear internal counts, it's where you find that here is where extension is taking place. Now, what do I mean? Usually, we have said that within an impasse we can have this 1, 2, then a 3, 4, 5. We can have this kind of wave structure. Now we have this 1, and then we have this 2, then we have this 3, we have this 4, finally we have wave number 5. So this wave 1 actually has got its own structure. Then wave 3, mainly we are looking on impasse actually. We will consider wave 1, wave number 3, and wave number 5 now. So wave number 1 has got its own structure, number 3 and number 5, all of them have got different structures. So now, where extension occurs, how are you going to identify extension? Maybe within wave number 1, or within wave number 3, or within wave number 5. How are you going to identify the extension? Now remember, you have to make review of those who call the guidelines and the guidelines and rules. You will find that usually wave number 1, wave number 3, and wave number 5, none of them can be extended. All of them cannot be extended. Actually, that's the rule. That's the rule of an impasse. When you are trading within an impasse, actually make sure that don't expect to see extension within all of the 3 waves. Within wave number 1, wave number 2, and wave number 5, don't expect all of them to be extended. So only one of the wave between wave number 1, number 3, and number 5 should be extended. Only one wave should be extended. So now, how are you going to identify that extended wave? You will find that its internal building has a clear count. An extended wave, it forms an internal structure which has a clear count. So now that clear count, how will you see it? Now you will find that when you are building this structure, when you are building the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top, you will find that one wave has traveled a longer distance compared to other waves. That's the first thing that sometimes you can identify. Maybe if you are analyzing the market, just the previous move, the previous move of the market. If you are analyzing the previous move of the market, you will find that at one part the market has traveled a very longer distance. That part will be extended wave. But maybe if the market is building that structure currently, how are you going to identify the extension? Now you will find that extension can occur within that wave, motif wave, or the impasse, whereby we call it as wave multiples. We call it as wave multiples, whereby that wave multiple or extension can occur within wave number 1, can occur within wave number 3, or within wave number 5. Now, how can you identify that wave number 1 is going to be extended? How can you identify that wave number 1 is going to be extended? Now you will find that within your count, when you are counting those waves, you will find that the wave number 1, the structure of the wave number 1 will be something like, we have this 1, 2, 3, 4 to the top. Now wave number 1 will be something like this. I will have 1. This is wave number 1. Then we will have this 2. Then finally, not final now. You will have, then this is 2, then you will have 3. Yes, this is 1. Now let me clear this, the third one. I need to show you how extension can be identified. Now you will find that the travel of the move, this one is, now you expect this to be 3, and then things goes on, this will be 4, then finally this will be 5. So now, how are you going to identify extension? How are you going to identify extension here? You will find that the distance traveled by the first wave actually is longer than the distance traveled by the third wave. Now here it is very simple. If we will consider this extension as it is within a third wave, actually it will be simple if we will consider this extension as it is within a third wave. So now this is the first move, number 1. This is number 2. We expect this to be number 3, but according to Elliott wave rules, wave number 3 never be the shortest of the wave number. It's never be the shortest of the wave number 1, and then it's not the shortest of the wave number 5. You expect that this is 1, 2, then this is 3, now this is 3, 4, 5. Now you will find that wave number 1 is very long. Then wave number 2 is shorter than wave number 1. So comparing this 1 and 2, you will find that probably number 1 is extended. But you will find that number 5 also has traveled a longer distance compared to wave number 3. So if you find that wave number 3 is the shortest among the wave 1 and 5, so this count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be incorrect count. This will be the incorrect count. Now, what will be your correct count? Your correct count will be 1, then this will be 2. Then next, instead this being 3, this will be 1, and this will be 2. Again, 3, then now how things goes? 3, then 4, finally 5. Now here will be 3, then 4, and finally will be 5. Now what's this 5? Now this 5 will be the internal wave. Now this 5 will be the internal wave. Now this is extension within the third wave. It is easy to put it as extension within the third wave. So this 5 will be the last 5 here. This 5 will be the fifth wave of the internal wave of the third wave. So the whole move from this 2, this one was 2, the whole move from this wave number 2, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of these will be counted as the third wave. All of this will be the third wave. So here, in a lower degree, this will be number 5. But in a higher degree, this will be number 3. After having this number 3, now the correct count will be 1 up to this point. Now this will be 1, then 2. That's the correct count. Then 3, finally we'll have 4 down. Now this number 4 can be sideway. Remember the guideline of alternation. Now this will be sideway, wave number 4, and finally wave number 5 to the top. So this is number 4, then this is number 5. Now what I have demonstrated here is extension within the third wave. Now I have demonstrated the extension within the third wave. It is very easy to demonstrate this, but extension may occur within the first wave, may occur within the third wave, and also extension may occur within the fifth wave, but not all of them can be extended at the same time. If number 1 is extended, number 3 and number 5 will never be extended. Actually, they will have what we call the equality. They will have a guideline of equality. It means they will be equal. If wave number 3 is extended, therefore the distance traveled by wave number 1 and distance traveled by wave number 5, usually we expect it to be equal. So to identify the extension, you will find that, example, this one demonstrated in wave number 3. You will find that here we will have wave number 2, then number 3 will start with 1, 2, 3, 4, finally 5 to the top. Now this is what to call the extension of the third wave, and also you can find this within extension also can be found within the first wave, and also can be found within the fifth wave. But the principle here is, when you make a count 1, 2, 3, 4, you find that the wave that you assign it as the third wave, when you find that it is very short, it means there is an extension there. This will be no longer a third wave. This will be the first wave of an extended third, the extended third wave. So this will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you see? Now you will have this 1 in a higher degree, and then this will be wave number 2 in a higher degree. Then we'll have this wave number 1 in an internal degree. Then we'll have wave number 2 in an internal degree. Then we'll have wave number 3 in an internal degree. Then wave number 4 in an internal degree. Then wave number 5 in an internal degree, or the lower degree. Now after completion of this wave number 5 in a lower degree, the next move will be now in a higher degree. In a higher degree, we had this wave number 1 and this wave number 2. So in a higher degree, this will be the third wave. This will be the third wave. Then finally we'll have the fourth in a higher degree, the fourth wave, and the last one is now the fifth wave in a higher degree. So now that's how you are going to identify those who call the extension within an impasse. That's how you are going to identify those who call the extension within an impasse. Now this is a very difficult part to understand. Actually, it's a very hard thing to understand or to identify it in a real market, but if you practice it, it will be very easy. So now that's very simple. So sometimes now when extension occurs, maybe we have this extension within a third wave. When there is extension within a third wave, you can find that extended wave may have internal extended wave. This is what we call the extension within extension. That's another thing that's very basic. Actually, it is very confusing if you don't know it. If you don't know it, and then you approach the real market, you'll find that sometimes there is extension. Now we have this. We call it as extension. Now extension within extension. Extension within extension. Now this is a very basic part to identify those who call the possible variations in the market. Extension within extension. Now, how may we identify that to call extension within extension? Now we have various extension within extension. Sometimes we can have maybe the first wave. Oh yes, let's start with the third wave. It's very simple. We can have the third wave, extension of the third wave extension. Sometimes we can have that. A third wave extension of the third wave extension, or sometimes a fifth wave extension of the fifth wave extension. Those are very simple way to understand those extensions within extension. But sometimes maybe the first wave of extension may have the first wave of extension, maybe the first of the first, or the third of the third, or the fifth of the fifth. So now, how may you identify the the third wave of extension of the third wave of extension? Now, you may have this count. Maybe you have this one, then you have two, then finally, now. You have this one, then you have two, then three. It don't satisfy to be the third wave, so it is now, this is one again. Then we will have two. Then instead of having three that satisfy those guidelines and rules, you will have one again. Then you will have this two. Then you have 3, 4, 5. Now, yes, you have 3. You have 2, 3, 4, 5. After having those 2, 3, 4, 5, completion of this 5 at this top will be completion of the extended third wave. So now, how are you going to count those waves? Now you will have in a higher degree. Now those degrees, actually, if you have not covered the concept of degrees, we already have those videos on the issues on Elliott wave degrees. So we start things like the primary degree, then you have the intermediate, you have the minor degree. Now we have various degrees. Actually, there are about 9 degrees. There are about 9 degrees that you must cover. So now you will have this is let's say we have 3 degrees. We have primary, intermediate, and minor degree. So if in a primary degree, now I'll put those labeling not in a right way, but let's have a picture of that. Now let's say this is 1 in a higher degree. Let's put this. Those are the brackets now. These are the brackets. So we have this 1 in that higher degree. Then we will have this 2 in the same degree. So instead of having this as 3, we will have this as 1. Now we will have this as 1 in a lower degree. Then this will be 2 in the same lower degree. Now this one is primary degree, so this is 1 of the intermediate degree. And also we will have the next move here is not 3 again. This will be 1 also, and this will be 1 of the minor degree, and this will be 2 of the minor degree, and this will be 3 of the minor degree, and then we'll have this 4 of the minor degree, and then we'll have this 5 of the minor degree. Now completion of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the minor degree, it will be completion of wave number 3. Now this will be completion of wave number 3 of the intermediate degree. So this one will be extension of the third wave. This will be extension of the third wave of the minor degree of extended wave of extended third wave of the primary degree. So now completion of this intermediate degree in the third wave will be followed by the fourth wave. Now this will be the fourth wave this will be now, it's not, yes, it has got brackets now. It has got brackets. Now this is the fourth wave of the intermediate degree, and finally we'll be having the fifth wave. We'll be having the fifth wave of the intermediate degree. Now completion of the fifth wave. Now we can extend this. Now completion of the fifth wave of the intermediate degree. Now this will be completing the higher degree. We'll be completing the third wave of the higher degree. That's what we call the primary degree. We'll be completing the third wave. Now here will be 1, 2, 3. Now this will be the third wave. Now we can label it as, we can label this as the third wave. We put this kind of brackets. Now this will be the third wave of the primary degree. Now finally, in the primary degree, we will have the fourth wave, and finally the fifth wave in the primary degree. Now this is the fourth in the primary degree, and then we have the fifth in the primary degree. Now we have seen the extension within extension, whereby now the third wave we have 1, then we have 2. Now instead of having 3 here, we had extension whereby we started it as 1 again. Then when this one was extended, this was extension of the primary degree. When the primary degree was extended, has got this one extended thing, then you will find that the third wave of the intermediate degree also was extended. So you will find that also we have got another one of the internal wave. So this one also has got extension. So it is extension of the third wave of the third wave. So it is third wave extension of the third wave extension. So those are very difficult things to understand, so make sure that you practice them. And mainly it is very hard to identify them in a real market. So if you practice several times, maybe in different currency pairs, now you'll be able to see them to identify them very easily. The matter there is the important thing is to practice those things. So we are through with the issues on extension, and mainly on the basis of what to call the extension of extension. So therefore this thing has always presented in the third wave. Also we can have in a fifth wave. Sometimes we can have a fifth wave extension of the fifth wave, or the first wave extension of the first wave. So anything else may happen in the market, and mainly those are what to call the possible variations that most of traders they don't know actually, or they don't identify them. That's why they can have wrong counts in the market. So you find that a trader may count this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5 may expect a deeper correction, and then you'll find that the market don't do that thing because a trader didn't recognized that we have those who call the extension within that market move. So make sure that you cover the things in detail in order to be able to trade with what we call the wave principle. To be able to trade with the wave principle profitably. Now we are through with the issues on extension within an impasse. That is over. That's over with the issues on extension within an impasse, and then you'll practice the issues on the fifth wave. But now let's move to the corrective wave. When we are covering the issues on the alternation, the guideline of alternation, we found that alternation can be within an impasse, whereby we have found those various ways or various areas where extension may occur. Alteration may occur within an impasse. We can find that we have found that it can be sharp or it can be sideways. And also we have discussed the issues on extension. That was the last thing. That is the last thing that we have covered right now. So now let's move to correction. Those who call the corrective move, whereby corrective waves, they have two ways in which they can alternate. They can alternate within a single corrective structure, and also they can alternate within combination. Now it's very simple to cover the issues on alternation within corrective structure. It's very simple to cover the issues on alternation within corrective structure. Now let us see alternation within corrective waves. Alternation within corrective waves. whereby you have seen that within corrective waves, alternations are of two types, whereby we have alternation within a structure, within an individual corrective structure. And the second thing, we have alternation within combination, alternation within combination. So we are going to cover those two things, and actually this will be the last part of this session. We're going to wind up with those two things because actually the recording is taken too long. Actually, we will mark out this through coverage of those two things. So now let us see the issues of correction. The structure of the market within an individual corrective structure. How this structure alternate. Now, mainly, corrective structures are of different types. Corrective structures can be zigzag. Actually, corrective structures can be zigzag. Also, corrective structures can be flats. Actually, zigzags, we have flats, and also we have triangles. If we need to cover the issues on individual structure, on individual corrective structure. Now we have zigzags, we have flats, and also we have triangles. So now every corrective structure have got its own possible variations. I will cover only a single variation, mainly within zigzag. I will cover only a single variation, mainly within zigzag. But you have to find out how corrective structures may vary. Correction may vary within the flats, and also you have to find out how corrections may vary within triangles. Now the purpose here why I cover only one thing, in order to avoid to have that very long recording. Actually, we need to have a very short thing. So now within zigzag, usually zigzag, correction now within zigzag. Zigzag is mainly the A, B, C. Now usually this is what we call a zigzag. Here is A, then next is B, and finally we have what we call C. Now this is the ABC. Now this ABC has got its own internal building structure. Now wave A have got its own internal building structure, wave B have got its own internal building structure, and then wave C have got its own internal building structure. So now you will find that when wave A when wave A is building up, it may build in very different ways, and also when wave B is building up, also it can build itself in a different way. And finally, when wave C is building up, also it can build up within a different way. So now exclude this as a zigzag in general. Now let's skip this. Let's keep this as a zigzag in general. Let's consider as a corrective move, just a corrective move. Now you'll find that a corrective move has got the ABC. Now stop considering it as a zigzag. Now if we'll consider this as a zigzag, we'll find that it must have what we call the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave 1. Then it must have the ABC in wave B. In wave A has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave A usually is an impasse or is a diagonal. Then wave B actually is any corrective, mainly it is zigzag. And then finally wave C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be an impasse or it can be a diagonal in a zigzag. Now this is very simple. Now let's stop considering this as a zigzag and let's consider it as generally a corrective structure. Let's consider this generally as a corrective structure. Now, if we consider this generally as a corrective structure, you will find that a corrective structure may have this A, then B, finally C. A corrective structure may have A, B, C. Now, this is no longer a zigzag. Now, this is no longer a zigzag. It is just generally an ABC corrective structure. We have those who call the threes. Now, those who actually practice the basic part of the Elliott wave, they know the issues on the threes. Sometimes we may have those who call the double threes. We may have those who call the triple threes. Now, remember the issues on the threes. Actually, it is like a zigzag, but we consider them as a threes because it has made up of those three wave moves. So now, when we come to those threes, you will find that the first wave, it can be zigzag. Now, the first wave in the ABC, wave A can be zigzag. if wave A it is zigzag, it means its building structure it will be a zigzag. Now a zigzag it is A, B, C. Now this is zigzag. Now how to identify zigzag? Actually zigzag has got its internal structure. Here you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. You will have A, B, C to the top. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Now you can find that they were now in threes now. In threes, not in zigzag again, please remember this. It is not in zigzag again, it is just in threes. We are considering in those 3 waves move. So in threes now, not in zigzag, in 3 wave moves, wave A can be zigzag. Now this one, I put this as zigzag. Wave A is zigzag. Now having this zigzag in wave A, actually on the idea of alternation, we don't expect to find that wave B also can be zigzag. On the idea of alternation, we don't expect that wave B also will be zigzag. So wave B now can be flat. So if wave B is flat, now we need to see this as this will be A, B, then C. Actually, now we have different types of flats actually, but we can have a regular flat, expanding flat, or running flat, or anything else. But we expect wave B to have a different structure compared to wave A. That's how we need to see. So wave B can be, this one can be flat. And finally wave C. This is different from combination, because most of you, I think now, they think that I'm presenting combination here. Now this is not a combination. It is different from combination. Combination is different thing from this what I'm talking here. So now you'll find that wave A has got a zigzag structure. Wave B has got a flat structure. And wave C now will be, wave C will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So wave 1 is zigzag, wave 2 is flat, and wave 3, now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this can be an impasse. Now this can be an impasse or can be diagonal. This can be an impasse or diagonal. Now the idea here is alternation. Now the idea here is alternations. Wave A has different structure from wave B, and wave B have different structure from wave C. So they alternate. None of the wave can be repeated within this corrective structure. This is based on what we call the guideline of alternation. None of the waves can be repeated. It doesn't mean, now this means that when wave A is zigzag, it means that wave B should be a different structure, and wave C will be a different structure. Now let's see an alternative form of this. Because we have seen this, the first type of alternation within a single structure. This is alternation within a single structure. The whole structure can be zigzag now. What we see here, the whole structure is like a zigzag or a threes. It is a zigzag or a threes. Maybe if we name it as zigzag, actually I'm naming this as zigzag, but it will be incorrect if I'll take this as zigzag. So let's consider this as a threes. Now let's consider the whole structure as a threes. So this threes has got alternative structures in the first wave, which alternate with the second wave, then it alternates with the third wave. So now the second way at which those waves may alternate, you will find that the first wave can be flat. Now we have 3 wave move. We have this A, B, C to the downward. So the first wave can be flat. If the first wave is flat, you will find that its internal structure will be something like A, then B, finally C. Now this is flat because the distance traveled by this wave B, actually it is exactly, not necessary to be exactly, but it is almost to the area where the first wave began. The first wave, this wave A, actually find that the point where wave A started, it's where the wave B will end. So this is what we call a flat. And then this wave C, actually it may travel beyond wave A, or it can be within the distance traveled by wave A. So it's where we get the possible variations of the of zigzags, where it can be regular, of flats. Now we can get those who call the regular flats with the running flats. We have those who call the expanding flats. Now mainly here is wave A is flat. That's the second way where variation can occur within threes. Then the second wave will be maybe zigzag. If the second wave is I mean, this is A. Now wave B can be zigzag. Now zigzag is something like the A, B, C to the top. Now this A, B, C to the top is what we call zigzag. Now how are you how are you going to identify that wave A is flat and wave B is zigzag? Now the building structure of a zigzag, it is it is A, B, C to the downside. Then this B has got A, B, C to the downside, and the last one wave C has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what we call zigzag. Is 3, 3, then 5. This is zigzag. This is flat now. This is flat. Now zigzag is something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top, 1, 2, 3 to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top. Now it is 5, 3, 5. This is what we call a zigzag. But 3, 3, 5, this is what we call flat. So make sure you be aware of those things. Now then, what will be the structure of the third wave now? C. Now the wave C. The structure of wave C usually can remain in the same way. The structure of the wave, the third wave, that is wave C, can remain in the same way, whereby it can be an impasse. This can be an impasse or can be diagonal. This can be an impasse or diagonal. Diagonal mainly in wave C is what we call the ending diagonal. Then an impasse is what we call the 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, diagonal also is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But mainly within an impasse there is no overlap between wave number 4 and 1. Then within diagonal there is no overlap. And ending diagonal also has got different structure, whereby it has got what we call the threes. Those waves have got 3. Wave number 1 will be 1, 2, 3. Wave number 2, 1, 2, 3. Number 3 will have 1, 2, 3. It is different from an impasse which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. So it is something like that. So now this is alternation within. This is alternation within a single corrective structure. But we have got what we call combination. Now the last thing. Now this is last thing. Now the issues on combination. So sometimes there is not sometimes, it is usually there is alternation within combination. Now when we are talking about combination, it means a whole corrective structure. It is made up of more than one corrective structures. The large degree or the higher degree corrective structure, it is made up of more than one small or lower degree corrective structures. That is what we call combination. So in a combination, you can find that you can have the first wave, the first corrective structure can be, let's say it is zigzag. The first structure can be zigzag. The second structure can be flat. And the third structure can be triangle. Anything can happen there. Anything can happen, but we don't expect to have triangle as the first wave. The first corrective structure. Usually the first corrective structure can be flat or anything else, can be zigzag, but cannot be triangle. Usually triangle, it stands as last or the final now. It stands as the final corrective structure. So now, how the things look like. I have skipped one thing. I think I'll talk it at the last thing. When we are talking about this corrective within an individual structure, we have also another kind of possible variation. I have not talked about that, and it is mainly about the issues on having simple structure, having complex structure, or sometimes having complex and the more complex structure. I will present this as the last thing because I've already started with the issues on combination. So let me complete with this, and then I'll be back to the it's just a few concepts now. It's not a lot of information about the issues on being complex or being more complex or anything else. It's just very few things. So now the issues on having the combination, that means having the issues on zigzag, flat and triangle, or having flat, zigzag and triangle. This means that the first wave move, if it is zigzag, you will have, now here is where we cover the issues on WXY, or sometimes we have that to call the WXYZ. It depends on how many corrective structures are there, because we have 3 corrective structures. Now we have those 3 corrective structures, so this will be the WXY. If we have 4 corrective structures, so we can have that to call the WXYZ. So now in the WXY, you will find that the first wave move, you will find that the first wave move is zigzag. So you will have this ABC. Now basically this ABC, this one is now this will be A, then B, finally C. Now the whole ABC is just an individual, or it is just a single corrective structure that needs to combine with another in order to reach that price level where the market is supposed to end. So if ABC has not satisfied that position where the market is supposed to end, so it combined with another structure. So now the first one is zigzag, so this will be named as W. Now we'll have we'll have that we call it as a link between one corrective structure and another. We'll have a link between one corrective structure and another. Now you'll find that a link will be something like the A, B, C to the top. Usually the link cannot be triangle. Yeah, that X wave mainly, in most of cases, X wave cannot be triangle. So now this 1, 2, 3 to the top, this is named as X. And mainly this X is zigzag, so it will be A, then BC. Now this is ABC as a zigzag, but mainly in a big structure, this is named as X. Now after having this X, the second corrective structure may come in, which is flat. The second corrective structure, according to what we need to see here, the second corrective structure should be flat. Now flat is something like, this is something like A, now B, then finally C. A, B, C. Now here is A, then we have B, and finally C. Now this is flat. Now why we name it as flat? Because we find that the distance traveled by wave B is almost covered the whole distance traveled by wave A. Now this is that's why we name this as flat. It is different from the first wave, which was zigzag, whereby the distance traveled by wave B has not covered the whole distance traveled by wave A. So now this zigzag, now in a big picture, this covers what we call the X. Now it is WXY. Now this is what we call the wave Y. Now this is what we call the WXC, and finally we have this Y. So now, we had this zigzag, flat, and triangle. The issues on flat. Now I named flat as the middle wave. I named flat as the middle wave. So flat is possible. Flat is possible if we have those what we call the WXYXZ. So what I named here was combination of 3 corrective structures. What I named there is combination of 3 corrective structure. Mainly combination of 3 corrective wave structures, what we call the WX. Now the W, then X, Y, then X, and finally Z. But from what I have presented here, we have this we call the WXY. But if we need to add another corrective structure, we're supposed to have another X somewhere there. Sometimes they name it as XX, and finally we'll have the final corrective structure, maybe triangle. We'll have triangle right here. A, B, C, D, E. Now it is A, B, C, D, finally E. Now we will have this triangle. It can be any type of triangle there if we need to have those 3 things there. But now the point here is, when the first corrective move is zigzag, we don't expect to see the second corrective move to be zigzag again. The first one, now here, the first corrective move was zigzag. Now it had this link that joined between the first and the second. Now the second corrective move, it don't supposed to be zigzag again. The second corrective move will be another corrective structure, whereby it can be flat or it can be triangle. It depends on whether you have a WXY or you have the WXYXZ. If you have a WXYXZ, we expect the second one should be flat and the final will be triangle. But if you have, maybe you have a WXY, it's just only two corrective structures, so this wave Y also can be a triangle. But the case there is wave wave W will alternate with wave Y. If there is also wave Z, also wave Z will alternate with all of those wave moves that are covered in a previous move. So now that's how the issues on alternation occurs. That's how the concept of alternation within corrective waves, and specifically within a combination, it occurs in that way. So I skipped one thing when I was covering the issues on corrective within an individual. I mean, it was alternation within an individual corrective structure. Now I skipped one thing there, and that concept is when wave 1 is simple. Now sometimes it's not necessary to occur always, but we expect that usually wave 1 can be simple. Wave A now can be simple, wave B can be complex, and wave 3 actually, it can stay in the same way, can be simple. And sometimes wave B can be complex. Now let me present this. Let me present this right down here. So wave A can be simple, it can be maybe A, B, C. That's wave A. Wave B can be complex, given that wave B can be complex. When I'm talking about complex, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave B now, this was A, this now is B. Then finally we'll have the last wave move that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very simple. So now here A is simple, B is complex. Now we consider only those two things, and the final move actually it is quite simple. So usually we don't expect to have the first wave move as a simple structure, then also having a simple structure in the second wave move. So usually if the first wave move is simple, the second should be complex. And also we expect sometimes the third may be most complex. In some cases the third may be most complex. So now how most complex structure can be seen, how it looks like. So if wave A was simple, wave B was complex, the third was most complex, we expect it to be something like this. We'll have this A, B, C, a simple move in wave A. We'll have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave B. Then wave C is complex. I mean wave A is simple, wave A is simple, wave B is complex. Now wave C, we expect it sometimes to be most complex. Now how the most complex wave looks like? The most complex wave will be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then A, B, C, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So now this is what we call the most complex. Now this is what we call the most complex structure. So usually we expect in terms of building structure of the wave, wave A can be simple, wave 2 can be complex, and wave C can be quite simple. But sometimes wave A can be simple, wave B can be complex, and wave C can be most complex. But we expect those things to alternate. So not all the time you'll find that wave C is most complex. It may appear sometimes, but it is not necessary all the time. But wave A being simple and wave B being complex, actually it must occur most of the time. It must occur. There will be alternation between those wave structures. So now those are what to call the advanced concepts. Those are what to call the advanced concepts. So it may be quite difficult to understand the things. It depends on how I have presented them. So sometimes maybe you may not understand what I'm talking about. It depends on how I have presented the things. So if you need to understand them clearly, you can contact us. You can contact us and get those materials, those books or notes that explain those advanced concepts. So you can contact us. We have contacts on. It's just you can find them on the video description there. You can find those contacts at the video description. So they will help you to maybe to reach us and get those notes that explain the things that I have presented there, because I'm sure that some of people will not get me, will not get what I'm presenting here, because maybe I can put those concepts in a more complex way, or sometimes I can maybe fail to present, or maybe skip some things, or forget to present certain concepts, so you can miss the link there. But in order to get the whole flow of the information, you can contact us and get those those notes. But basically, I'm giving you the picture of what we call the advanced Elliott wave, and mainly it's something that most of people, they don't present it, and in reality is what the market does most of the time. Now those are the things that market do, and mainly when you encounter those alternations, the issues on having different looks of the market structure, you'll find that if you have not covered those things, you are lost in the way. If you make a count maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you find that there is an extension, maybe you don't know the idea about extension, so you find that maybe there is extension, you will be lost in the way, or the idea of extension within extension. So if you don't know if that thing exists, also you'll be lost in the way. So this is a free thing that everybody will have access, but mainly we are presenting those things that yes, somehow advanced. So if you need to get those real advanced things, to get the link into the real market, you can have you can pay for what we call our courses. You can pay for our face-to-face courses, or you can pay for online courses, actually, because presenting this session, it is too hard actually to flow everything. It's too hard. But if we plan for the live session or for the online session, we can have maybe we can have separation of concepts. Maybe today we are going to cover what we call the alternation within an impasse. We will see the issues on being sharp and being sideways. So we cover the theory of the things, then we link to the real market. So it will be maybe the first session. Then the second session will cover the issues on alternation within the impasse, but mainly maybe the issues on extension. We'll see the idea of extension of the first wave, the third wave, and the fifth wave, or sometimes the next maybe we will have the idea of extension within extension. So it will be quite good to subscribe for the course if you need to get those things clearly. But through this video, it takes you somehow to things that you didn't know before. Actually, I'm sure those are things that no one have already covered. And I said, if there is anyone who have already presented those things on the internet, please tag that person to the comments there. And if you have any question, please make sure that you present it at the comment section, or if you have any suggestion on the way how I'm presenting it, so you can put that suggestion at the comment section. I like to hear those feedback from you. So thank you for your time. Make sure that you subscribe this channel in order to have a connection with what we are going to do next, because this is the first session of 12 sessions. So we still have 11 sessions there. So if you have not subscribed, you will not be able to get those informations when we release the second the second session. So if you have subscribed, then make sure you turn on those notifications in order to be notified when the session is uploaded. So thank you for your time and have a nice time.